Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pub Talk. Today is March 5th, 2022. A month ago was the Super Bowl, and we're back. But before we get into everything, today we're going to talk about the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about the MLB lockout. We're going to talk about beer, of course, as always, we do every show. But before we start, Pub Talk is brought to you by Route 11 Chips. Route 11 Chips, the best chips here in the Shenandoah Valley, with great flavors such as Chesapeake crab, salt and pepper. So get your chip bag at your local Martin's, Food Lion, and Giant today. They've been doing it for 25 plus years, some of the best damn fine chips in the business. So go grab your chip bags today. Okay, we have another guest here.
Uh-oh.
It's a second timer for us because he was on here once ago, a long time ago. What year was it? Because 2020 was just a fucking blur to me. So was it 2019?
1980. It's been a while. It's at least probably 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, welcome back, Cliff.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So if you've been a fan for as long as you have, he was on one of our long episodes ago, back when we were still newbies. I mean, we still are anyway, but we still have a little bit of football to talk about because the most recent show that we did, we were leading up to the Super Bowl, and now I know it's been a month, but the Super Bowl is now come and gone, and now the Rams are now Super Bowl champs. They beat the Bengals, so. Yeah, let's talk about it. I mean, the Rams did what I think people were expecting them to do because of the team that they created this year. Sure, they looked mediocre at times, but in the end, in the playoffs, they came to play and they took it home, especially in this game. And Coach, you and I have gone back and forth on this, but guess what? Is good to be right, isn't it?
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
good to be
I
right
wanted to
about
see. I wanted to see a
everything.
good game. What would you classify that as a classic? Probably not.
No,
No.
No, not a classic, but going into it, you're like, you don't have the big matchups that you're like looking forward to every year. Mahomes
Right.
being in there doing his thing, or Brady, or even
it's
Manning,
a
who's not
brand
long
new
ago.
open area.
Right.
It's-
And then
it's-
even
it's all-
Rodgers, as much
Yeah.
as I dislike that guy, he was freaking lights out this season. What, he throw 4 picks all year?
Yeah, but after that perform, I know it doesn't
Yeah.
matter in the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. But the fact that Cooper Kupp only got one vote, it's kind of BS to me, man. That he was the 100% the reason they beat Tampa, 100% the reason they beat San Fran, and 100% the reason they beat Cincinnati in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
The three
he
most
just
important games.
he took his game to the stratosphere.
I love seeing an FCS
He just
guy.
separated himself
Absolutely.
completely from the class of receivers. I mean,
and he's deceptively big. People are like, he's just a small slot guy. He's 6'3".
Yeah, he's a
Decent sized
Yeah.
Yep.
receiver. He's just a smaller. He's quick and
Right.
he's good.
he splashed at the draft when he was getting picked up, and I think it just took
third
off
or
from
fifth
there.
round. I forget.
Off the top of my head, I don't know. Probably, I wouldn't say anything less than 3
No.
if I was betting. But the whole thing is, he has just gotten better and better. And we you and I had talked about this, is that you got a guy like Cooper Kupp, and then you put in now what's his name, Higbee, the tight end.
Yep.
Now he got hurt, but having Odell there. And we said having Odell there prevented Kupp from being doubled, because then you can't single cover. You got to mix and match zones, and then the Higbee dude makes things happen. And then
And in that game, at the very beginning, when Odell was in the game, Odell was having
he had a splash.
he was having a hell of a
splashed.
game.
Yeah.
And like, you can have your
Because-
personal opinions on Odell. It fucking sucks seeing him get hurt,
Yeah,
because he
that
was
was bad.
having a
I-
game.
we were sitting upstairs in the living room one, and as soon as it happened, I was like, he's done.
He's done.
That's
He
bad.
just is.
And I'm just like, I'm not an Odell fan, but I never want to see that happen to a player. Non-contact
Especially
injury like
with
that.
what he was doing.
And then playing at that time, having been through all this shit with the Giants and then the freaking Browns, and it makes it look like he's a pariah. Every time he ends up on the team, he's the pariah. And that was not the case when he got to LA. And it was clear from the very beginning.
He knew his role when he walked in
Right.
the door.
I'm going to play second fiddle to Kupp. He might be, in terms of route running and all that stuff,
Now,
I would probably put him a second-tier guy in terms of route running, but Cup is just a phenomenal route runner. So
we'll see what happens next year, though, where
right,
he'll be,
because
though.
he will not play
in
I-
LA with the contract. Like, yeah,
well, just
you're
the
getting-
timing of his surgery and things are going to prevent
Oh,
him
yeah,
from being
true.
on the field too. So you get hurt.
Okay, but let's go into.
He still got the ring.
Yeah. So a little bit more
To contribute to. I didn't mean to cut you off. The fact that he contributed to it, and yeah,
He looked unstoppable at
Yeah.
one point. He really
Because
did.
He looked like the Odell of old.
but here's the thing: it goes back to what we had talked about on one of the shows beforehand. Is that if you double Cooper Cup because you have to,
You're going to leave him running wide open, single up the seam.
right? You're going to have to have single coverage. You're going to have to get linebacker interference. You're going to have to get something, and he's just too good for that.
He's too big and strong and smart for that.
Yeah.
His football IQ is super off
Yeah.
the charts.
A little bit more on the Rams, and then we'll talk about Cincy. But Matthew Stafford, I mean, for 12 years, man, like for 12, was it 13 years with Detroit? Like, sure, I don't think that he was as great as everybody said he was because you had Megatron. You
Right.
had somebody that is a Hall of Famer, literally is now a Hall of Famer. But still, now you proved it once again. You left a shitty organization like Detroit.
There's only one word
And-
to describe what he was doing at the time, and that's called, and it's a 10-cent word, languish. He was languishing in Detroit. He was beaten down. I mean, he was just literally beaten down in a subpar franchise. They're just not very good.
Yeah, we can't say that about Brady, who won 6 Super Bowls and then was like, I'm not feeling it anymore. Let me go to
Screw
this
it. I'm going to go here and win another
go
one.
here and win another
They
one.
don't want me. I'll go win somewhere else.
But yeah, Stafford, he accomplished everything in LA, which is, I think, I mean, he may play a couple more years now, but I don't think it's like Elba. It's like Elway, essentially. He's like, he's got a hell of an arm, but he just didn't have that Super Bowl. And now it's like, now he does. And it's like, I don't really give a shit anymore.
Do they
Let's
have the
just make
potential to
some more money.
repeat?
I think they do. Looking at what, depending on how the draft and free agency works out, I don't see.
No way. With the picks that they had to get just for Stafford, there's no fucking way. And to keep Donald after that performance is like, you will pay me more and more money now.
Well, yeah,
You
for
will.
sure. But I think the team, if they could keep that team remotely together, a la
Yeah,
Tampa,
it's like Tampa. Yeah,
if they can kind of keep those core guys together,
I see a lot more issues though with this team as I did Tampa, where Tom is a different leader. Is like, look, guys, if you want to win championships, you got to take a little less. Where Stafford's like, I've taken the big money. I've taken the big money. Tom, he's never taken the big money, and he's understood how to win. Matthew Stafford has taken a triple-digit contract before and literally just like said,
Shat the bed.
Yeah, just shat the
Yeah.
bed. So like, that's the only difference I see is attitude reflect leadership, Captain. So,
but McVay is to
Yeah.
me, he runs that ship.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
And all things go through him. And when you are so hyped that you have to have a fucking get back coach that jerks you back off the sidelines to keep you from
that's
running on
just
the
their
field,
strength, coach. Man,
I know,
every
I
team
know.
has.
You almost need the strength coach
Right.
to keep him back there.
you gotta keep
Dude,
that
he's,
guy back.
he's Energizer
But-
Bunny.
To see him and to see that, and that's what goes out on the field.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
and if you can keep all the talent out there and keep everybody healthy, which is the big thing that they
Right.
did all year, they kept, for the most part, everybody stayed
And Tampa
healthy.
didn't. They had
Yep.
receivers going in and out and in and out.
they are losing their OC. Their OC is no longer there now. He's the Green Bay head coach
Quarterbacks coach.
now. No, their offensive coordinator.
Is he quarterbacks coach or
He was their
OC?
OC.
He was their OC. He's Green Bay's new head coach,
Yeah,
right?
new head coach. So he's gone now. So that is another issue.
Not Green Bay. Green Bay has Matt LaFleur. He's not going anywhere.
Oh shit! Who am I thinking of? Denver. Am I thinking of Denver? Am I thinking? Am I?
Green Bay's offensive coordinator is going to Denver. That's Hazlitt.
Maybe that's
I'm sorry. Cliff and I are both idiots, so give me a sec. Yeah, he's
Hackett,
the Denver
yep.
head coach.
It's
Yeah,
Hackett, not
he's the Denver
Hazlitt.
head coach. Okay.
Jim Hazlitt was a coach at one time, and he was with the Rams too. So yeah.
Yeah. So that's also a huge loss. And comboed, I think, like I said, with contract disputes, because Odell, even though he's injured, he's going to want money. He is going to want money.
Yeah.
If they want to keep him, that's the only thing. I'm done with LA though.
Here's my thing: is if you're Odell, do you have this come to Jesus moment where you say, you know what, I got my Super Bowl, I've already had the big paydays, I'll take less and play the Brady role. I'll take less to stay here, because this is where I feel. This is where I've been able to.
I don't know that he's there in his career yet. I don't know that he thinks he's there.
Yeah, but where else are you going to go with an opportunity to win like that?
It would really rely on his agent and the people that's around him to say, here's real talk. If you're going to play with a team that's going to contend, you got to take less money because they're not going to be able to afford to pay.
Right, and that's why I'm saying with the Rams, you're going to take less money. If you want to stay here, you got to take a little less.
But are the people in his camp going to be able to tell him that, and is he going to listen?
Well, how could you at this point? How could you not? Especially coming after your second knee surgery. You know what I mean?
But anyway, let's move on to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And
Could be.
This is dating back to the draft that I've been saying this shit. I don't give a shit if you drafted Chase. If you cannot keep your quarterback up, if you cannot provide him with protection, even if
you could go back into our archives from the day we talked about it from the draft.
It doesn't matter. He was sacked 7 fucking times. He was sacked 9 times against Tennessee.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
The one thing that Tennessee did good was sack that man 9 times. But LA ruthlessly was after him. And they had no fucking answer. The only answer they had was a non-face mask penalty call by T. Higgins at the first play of the second half. That's the only fucking... let's just throw up a Hail Mary here.
Right.
Hopefully it works. That's about it. They
were efficient. The thing is, they were efficient when they got rid of the ball quickly to nullify the pass rush. That was effective. And for some reason, they just got away from it. And one of the other things that Burrow does really well is he smokes out of his 5-step drop.
Yeah.
When he starts to smoke out and start working towards the sideline, and work and delay, extend the play. Boom, that's where he becomes effective. And that nullifies a guy like Aaron Donald who's rushing straight up the pipe.
It's not even just him. It's
right.
Von Miller.
Von Miller now too.
Right.
I thought was better than Aaron Donald in that game. Von Miller, he already knows how to make quarterback's life a nightmare. He made Cam Newton's life
and
a
then
nightmare.
you saw how they blocked it. You know what I mean? You saw how they changed the blocking, and then they moved Aaron Donald, and they put him in situations where he was one-on-one with the guard, and you can't win. You can't win against he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He just is. He's undersized, but he has a motor that just does not quit, and he's got ferocious power. And he just.
I wouldn't be surprised if he retires now, though. I would not be surprised if he finally did say, like, now I have my ring. I'm done. I don't think so.
I think he's going to pull another a la Brady. I think he got one. He wants to go back and see if they can run it again.
I don't know. I think that he is done. I don't know. That's just
now there's no stress. There's no pressure. You just play for the love of the game, and you just start saying, well, if I'm going to go into the Hall of Fame, my stats are going to be off the chart.
Like
and
Taylor,
you can play for your stats. You got he got his 2 rings, and then you just.
No, but I'm saying he got the first one. He's like, fuck this. I'm going to wreak havoc, and then he somehow got that second one with Hostetler.
Right.
He just
I see him sticking around for a few more. I mean, why not?
I think he's at least one more. I think he'll sign another 1-year deal.
There's just no way to describe him other than to say he's an elite pass rusher. That there are very few. There's only one person, and Von, as good as Von Miller is, there's only one other guy that's even remotely as disruptive as him, and that's freaking T.J. Watt from Pittsburgh. There's only one other guy that comes off the edge and can affect a team.
You don't get
like
22.5 sacks in 14 games. He didn't do it in 17.
Yeah, because he had the groin injury. Yeah,
he was in 14 games in the 1 sack in the last game against Baltimore.
Yeah, he can single-handedly disrupt an offense just as much.
I mean, he was yoking quarterbacks with one arm and slinging them.
Lawrence Taylor did. Yeah, I remember when he friggin' sprained his shoulder and he was like, "Put a pad on me," and he still went out there.
Joe Theismann.
But what does this mean for Cincinnati, though? Like, sure, you lost the Super Bowl. What do you do now? Draft an offensive lineman.
Yeah. Defensively, they were pretty solid, man. I really liked what they did defensively.
I feel so bad for Logan Wilson.
He had labrum surgery.
For him.
He had labrum surgery.
Because,
They said
like,
they successful.
He was having the game of his life everywhere on the field.
Yeah, if Cincinnati
that-
wins, you name him MVP because he was
that
everywhere.
Ticky-tacky ass call in the end, where it was third down. I go,
Yeah,
that is literally textbook,
right.
and you just fucking ruined everything for that.
You know, and
man
when
right there.
when you watch
Eli Apple literally groped the man, 100% groped him.
He was inside of his
to,
pads.
and took him to dinner and everything. But Logan Wilson, everything he did was right, and you just fucked it right there. I don't want the refs to be a part of the game. I don't think that you win or lose by the refs.
Especially that late in the game, they call that swallowing the whistle, where you just don't blow it. You know, unless it's absolutely egregious that you don't do it. That maybe it would be overturned in replay.
I mean, I don't remember how many penalties were in the first half of the game.
Like one or two. And
then
everything got called in the last 5 minutes of the game.
Right.
Apparently.
Yeah.
But the Cincinnati defense literally carried them here, especially against Kansas City. That second half,
oh my God,
they got that first half goal line stop, and then in the second half, they didn't score. They scored 3 points. Kansas City scored 3 points, and then against LA, dude, they made Matt Stafford throw 3 interceptions. Like, he did not have a perfect game.
They had every opportunity to win that game. And when you think about the pick,
run game whatsoever.
Yeah, the run game, and I was expecting Joe Mixon to be a big splash because I really like him.
Kind of was, but not to the extent of what he was in Kansas City. Yeah.
Right.
And Henderson,
Simon J.P. Ryan, I like him too. I like those guys. They're
Henderson in the passing game was great.
Yes.
But nothing in the run game was working for LA. Nothing was. But that's what I'm saying is, like, defense gets no glory. They don't. They get yelled at. You got scored on. You're at fault here.
Right.
They did everything in their fucking power to try and save
can't
Burrow.
think of
when I go back about elite defenses, and everyone for years has always said defense wins championships. That's what got Peyton his ring.
Oh yeah, I know.
Right.
That defense carried him.
Yeah, and everybody you get on Twitter and you get on these sports sites, and everybody has said that. Okay, for all of Brady's glory that he's been given, he was backed by some pretty stout defenses and stuff like that.
Maybe that Rams Super Bowl, yeah, but the Falcons Super Bowl, no. The Eagles Super Bowl, no. The Seahawks Super Bowl, a little, but that Seahawks offense was not that good. They had Marshawn Lynch. Should have handed it to Marshawn Lynch. But, like, I'm saying, sure, there were some games, but there were also some mediocre offenses that defense was going against when they faced
the Giants twice.
The Giants twice.
And that was the best team in the NFL ever. Guaranteed it was the best team in the NFL. That couldn't prove it. They couldn't prove it.
My Dolphins still undefeated. Thank you, Giants.
The best team to never win it, 2007 Patriots.
100%.
The best team to win it, in my opinion, is still the 85 Bears. Like, the most complete team. Even though your Dolphins, the one loss they have that year
to the Dolphins.
It was.
But I'm saying
was it like 24-15 or something like that? Some stupid number.
Yeah. Arbitrary.
Yeah.
For Cincinnati, draft some offensive linemen.
Yeah, I think there's anywhere else to go.
You have a great defense that has clearly shown that it can vibe together.
And you're young. You've got plenty to build on.
Your wide receiver core is great. Uzomah is great as a tight end. You have Joe Mixon, who is still a good running back. You have a legendary quarterback. If you can keep him upright, draft an offensive line. For fuck's sake, man.
Right. Yeah.
That's the mantra of the Dolphins for the last 20 years. O-line.
My beloved Chicago Bears. Come on.
Ask Chicago about drafting a quarterback.
Looking at Tannehill in Miami, everybody's like, he's a wide receiver. He's not a quarterback. He went on to Tennessee and did okay. He did relatively well.
He resurrected his career in Tennessee because they built a system around the skills that he does well.
Yeah, and Derrick Henry, but we don't talk about him.
We don't talk about it.
But what do we think overall how this Super Bowl lines up to others, though? Because, like, I thought it was at least a good game, least, thankfully. Because last year's and – I would say San Francisco and Kansas City was pretty good. But, like, the Rams and Patriots one, unless you're a defensive fan like me, it wasn't an enjoyable one as much.
No.
But I thought that this one was at least a good enough game.
Well,
It's good enough. It wouldn't make Rushmore though.
No, absolutely not.
No.
The most exciting Super Bowl to me is still the Malcolm Butler interception on the goal line. That's just
give
me,
the ball to Marshawn Lynch.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean that's got to be there.
Everyone in the world except Pete Carroll is screaming, "Give the ball to Marshawn Lynch."
Or mine is like the Steelers Cardinals one, like that one, that touchdown at the end in the back corner of the end zone.
I mean, I don't know, the 28-3.
Yeah, that one was a good one. It was just a tale of two halves, though. That's the thing. It's like the Seahawks Patriots one was literally like neck and neck.
I don't know. Patriots Eagles wasn't bad either.
Yeah.
I mean, that comes all the way down. I mean, Brady throws for 540 some yards.
Best game in his career, and he lost.
Yeah, and he
because
lost.
His defense couldn't even stop a slug on the field. Anyway, but now that this is done, we're going to have a football season, though, now, because we'll move on to the next topic. We're going to have a football season now where everything is now different, man. Like,
I really
grew
do.
up watching Tom Brady and Ben Roethlisberger. I grew up watching these guys. What is this? What is this NFL now? Honestly,
right.
What is it?
That's the big question: is who do you replace those guys with? I'm telling you right now, if I'm if I'm not Washington, if I'm Pittsburgh, you have the makings of a solid. You got a great running back, nice young running back. You got a defense that has so many great components to it. I mean, the one missing piece has been the mainstay of your team is now gone, and you look at who they have playing behind them. Yeah.
Well, and the other, to complicate it more, there's nothing in free agency that's like screaming.
No.
Unless you can tempt Aaron Rodgers away, he's not going there.
I don't see him going there.
No.
There was some discussion that Russell Wilson is a great fit for Pittsburgh.
It's a Band-Aid. It would be to get a ring. That would be plug and play to try to get a ring in the next few years.
Yeah.
At this point, you've got talent on that team.
Yep.
What's coming out in the draft? There's nothing coming out. Nothing really coming out in the draft. It's like
there's one kid that I'm really I really want to see, and that's Desmond Ridder, the kid from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I think him and Kenny Pickett, I think, are from Pitt. I think those two guys could make a splash in the NFL just because of the way they play.
I think Pickett will be the first one off the board.
Think?
Yeah.
I'm thinking in the first round. I'm thinking probably 3 quarterbacks in the first round because teams are going to need them. Yeah. I if I'm Pittsburgh, I'm like, oh, we better have an answer. You better have a good answer because who do you have sitting in the wings?
I don't want Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph.
You have Mason Rudolph and
Dwayne
Haskins.
Yeah. I don't want that.
And
do you go out and get Tyrod?
No, man, I want Deshaun Watson. I don't give a shit what his background is.
He ain't playing.
Yeah, I wonder where his skill set is now.
Because I was salivating over the prospect of him coming to Miami.
Yeah.
But knowing, he's got 22 allegations against him, that shit
and
piles
and
up.
it's not going anywhere.
It's
you know
not going to
I mean?
go anywhere.
And so with him not playing, what happens to his skill set then that he's not playing? You
don't take Russell Wilson.
Yeah, you bet the farm to get this guy, and then he shows up, and then the flash, he goes down with an injury because he hasn't played, and he hasn't played anything remotely game speed in 2 years, and you're expecting a lot from him.
They're going to call Kaepernick out of the
way. What the hell is wrong with your team on firing Mr. Flores?
I have no idea.
Now the Steelers have him as our linebackers coach.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I absolutely love Brian Flores.
Yeah.
I thought he in 3 years, he had a losing season his first season. He did fine the next two. He started out 0-7 this year and then reeled off 7 in a row.
Yeah.
Like that, 1-7 at the beginning of the year.
They won 7.
And then they won 7 in a row. Like the guy knows what he's doing.
With the potential to get into the playoffs,
yep.
And for whatever reason, it didn't happen.
So there's a couple of different theories that are going around about that he was not sold on Tua, wanted to move on, but ownership was different.
I can understand that though, man.
And that's the big that's
Coaches
the big
versus
freaking
owners.
yeah. Where everybody wants to put their thumbprint on the organization, and sometimes they get all hung up on a particular player. I hope that, because I'm a Bears fan, and I hope that's not the same thing with what we have with our young quarterback. It's just, I hope that's not what it is.
I mean, moved on from Trubisky.
Well, they did, and they interviewed Trubisky about Nagy, and he was very open, but he was not bashing of Nagy. He basically came out and said, look, he wanted me to do these particular things, and they had to be perfect. I had to do them, and that's not what I was good at. So, hopefully they move on from that, and Eberfluss and the rest of the squad that's taking over can say, hey, Chase Young has these sets of skills.
Justin Fields.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I say Chase Young.
Bro,
Justin
completely
Fields.
different position.
Yeah, but he's
way different city.
Yeah, another bad city.
The Commanders now. We'll talk about that. I think it has a guy. Yeah, we haven't talked about that since. So,
But I'm sorry. I don't know why I was thinking Chase Young, but he's another one that
generational talent.
Oh my God, I love that kid. I just think he's a phenomenal football player. But it's the same thing with Fields. Is you got to take a system and you got to put it around the kid that he can do, and that's the bottom line. And Pittsburgh's going to have to do it, but they have a veteran coach in Mike Tomlin that, you know what I mean. They have the things to make that work.
Flores went to Pittsburgh. He's like, Mike Tomlin is. I don't give a shit what you think about like his record the past couple of years.
Right.
Everybody loves to play for Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
Because
he's a player's coach.
He lets his coaches coach. And he gives what he can to the players as advice.
Right. He is a player's coach, and that's important.
Which is what I saw with Flores. So I think he's a great fit there.
And one of the things is that so when management viewed what he was doing, they didn't see it as fitting in their system, and then they made the unwise choice of getting rid of a really, really good young coach. He'll be a head coach again.
Now,
he just
you
will
have
be.
the 49ers not wide receivers, quarterbacks coach is your
and he's
or OC. Which one is
he was their OC.
Okay.
Yep. And he's going out and like he was on Pat McAfee's show the other day.
Yeah.
Made a complete ass of himself talking about time travel, and I'm like, dude, talk football, stay in your lane. But he's like he feels excited about Tua and trying to coach Tua to his best potential, and I think we saw that already in Alabama. I think that's the player you're going to get, who's going to be oft injured because his football's IQ is not as high as people think it is.
1 full year off of injury, and that was about it.
Yeah.
And other than that,
I mean, he had a hip replacement.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, he only had 1 full year.
Well, his skill set is what it is.
It is what it is.
So when you try to build that in the NFL, it's not Patrick Mahomes' skill set. It's supposed to look like that. I think that's what they thought they were going to get with it, and it's not that.
Even Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert. Those kids they check the boxes. They check those when Luck and Griffin were coming out. You're like, okay, these two guys against each other, it's coin toss.
Right.
They were not close.
Right. They check the biggest box of them all, and that is the ability to make NFL throws anywhere on the field because they have big league arms. That is Herbert, and that is Josh Allen. They have big league arms. And Buffalo, I mean, we could talk about Buffalo till the cows come home, till the Buffalo come home. They're another team. And when you said that, what's going to happen with guys like Brady leaving and Big Ben and stuff like that? Think about who was in the playoffs this year, and think about the changeover and how exciting next year could be. Because if you were a team that wasn't very good, you were just witness to what Cincinnati had just done in 2 seasons. You know what I mean? Because before Joe Burrow got there, they had the number 1 pick because they were dreadful. And then in 2 seasons, even after he gets hurt, in the season he returns, they go all the way to the Super Bowl. You can't tell me that there aren't teams that say, why not us?
We could do
Why
that.
not? We can do that. We can do this. We got a better O-line than they got.
Unless you're Washington.
Right. Unless you're Washington.
Yeah.
Because I was telling you about the Desmond Ridder kid. I'm telling you, Washington picks at 11. They'd be fools not to take freaking Desmond Ridder. He has all the tools to be a really good NFL quarterback.
But speaking
I just
of
really
Washington, their name is fucking stupid.
do.
Like, I understand the Washington football team. I understand it. Like, it's a little bit lazy, but honestly, it's like, if you actually look at the whole Commanders thing, it's like, this is even kind of more lazy, I feel.
Right.
You spent 2 years going over this rebrand because, number one, your owner didn't want to because of the whole.
He was made to, I think
he was
so.
Literally forced.
I think
to
if
do
you
it.
I think if you looked at the vast majority of fans in Washington, they didn't want it changed either.
No.
But
No.
but that's how society is today.
Same
You
thing
have
with,
a
like, the
culture that
Cleveland
that doesn't
Guardians
like
now.
that.
What?
No one is going to call them the Guardians. They're just going to call them Cleveland. And
Yeah.
then there will be so many slip-ups to call them the Indians.
But anyway, now you have the Commanders and take command. You know, that was actually like a quote, the hashtag of a team called the Commanders that was in the AAF back when that was a thing a couple years ago. They just fucking took it off of that, essentially.
Well, why
That's
not?
that's
They
not
can't use it.
original.
They
That's
can't.
not-
But they
I'm
can't
saying,
use
like,
it.
You're not original.
You think
You're-
Dan Snyder's original? Has an original bone in his body?
I know. What did he buy the team when he was like 30 years old? He was some software dude who made like a gazillion dollars and said, "Hey, I think I'll buy the Redskins."
Nobody
And then
wants to
I'll
be a part
I'll
of that
hire a front
organization.
office that abuses women,
And then I will run it into the ground.
and then I'll run it into the ground with my shitty management style.
Yeah, nobody
Like I would
wants
have
to be
run
a
my
part of that.
multi-million-dollar company into the ground. But I was hoping, and I talked with friends about this at school, and I was like, it would have been so cool if they'd have gone back to the replacements and were called the Sentinels. And the reason why I say the Sentinels is
Or the
because
Red
of
Wolves. I would have liked the Red Wolves.
or Red Hawks. I would have liked that too, because then you could have kept the same R, you could have kept the same color scheme, and then you could have kept HDTR, Hail to the Red Hawks, that kind of stuff. But the Sentinels would have been really cool because when you think of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, Arlington National Cemetery, right there, Washington D.C. That
steeped in history.
yeah, that it would to me that would have been cool because those guys that
And
they
their
sacrificed their
uniforms aren't
lives.
much better either.
No, they're cut awful.
Like,
Yeah, the whole emblem thing and the whole I don't know, but they're going to make a gazillion dollars off of that because everybody's got to buy their new
Buy the new
commander.
merch.
They got to buy the new merch, and so Dan
you're still
Snyder.
gonna see thousands of fans.
Yeah, you'll still pay $18 for a 12-ounce beer, but that's okay.
You'll still see thousands of fans with the.
They'll
Redskins
they'll
stuff.
wear the Redskins stuff. I guarantee you they will. And I have no qualms in saying Washington Redskins. I have no qualms in saying it.
No.
And I just
It's
think that I think
weird,
that
though, to me, man.
yeah, it's going to be strange, but the NFL is going to be a brave new world next year. I think it's going to be really good.
I think it's gonna be a switch to finally the new style of play where you don't have pocket passers like Brady who are going to just sit there, and Ben who is becoming less and less mobile. But I think back, I liken it to the NBA. Like I look back to when MJ was leaving.
Right.
I'm like, now what?
Right.
Well, you got all these younger guys, Kobe who was in at that point,
Right.
LeBron who's coming around. You got all these young guys who are coming up to kind of carry the mantle.
Right.
Giannis, like all these guys.
John Morant from Memphis.
Yeah.
He's freaking ridiculous.
All these younger guys that are coming in, and you look at Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Burrow, like those guys are going to be the next guys that we're looking at to say, okay, these are the guys now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you got people like me who are MJ is the GOAT.
Right. And
Yeah.
Brady's the GOAT. now.
Brady's the GOAT.
Right.
And as much as I hated him for 2 decades, seeing him twice a year and dominating the division and the league
But
for
you
the
guys
most part,
would always beat them whenever they were down
know.
there.
At
What
least
are you
once a
talking-
year
I
we
was
Yeah,
would
gonna
split
say,
with
what are
when
you
when
talking
when New
about?
England came to
You
freaking
had the
Florida,
Miami
they
Miracle. What the fuck are you talking about?
yeah, but he came out of there with 6 rings. And Big goose egg.
Okay, so let's
Rest in
move
peace,
on.
Don Shula. Sorry.
Let's move on to another like situation, like the MLB right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dude, this whole situation's fucked. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, like
This is
Yeah.
not like the lockout when from what, 15 years ago. This is not the same.
Like when
It just
you look
doesn't
at
feel
it on
right.
paper, you think like these things get resolved. This one is like, dude, there's series that are already canceled. The opening
Right.
day
The
is
first
already
two
just like,
series of the
fucked.
season are
It's
gone.
fucked.
The within hours of the paperwork coming back saying we're not signing this, game's canceled. Within hours, he
Right.
was like, this is it. This is not a tactic.
And they will not be paid for that. Right. If you're not
I-
playing, you're not getting paid. So, I've been Jeff Passan from ESPN is really, really good. He's very insightful when it comes to the Major League Baseball strike. And one of the things that somebody had commented on that he actually brought up, and it was, I wish I could remember who said it. He's like, Major League Baseball is a $10 billion a year industry, and they can't settle this issue. Their players,
here's the article.
million dollar athletes are quibbling with billionaires over a $10 billion industry that they can all share in. When you're talking about the minimum salary for somebody and they're into $500,000-$600,000 to play baseball.
Now, that's interesting that you say that, though, but that's not always the case, because when you get someone who's brought up from the minor leagues, they actually don't get paid until they step foot on the field.
Right. I get all
they
that.
Could be on a major league team and not get fucking paid because they have not set foot
I get
on
that
the field.
because the way that the way that major leagues,
that's bullshit, though.
Well, the fact is that they have a massive, and when I say you can't even begin to explain how many AAA teams, AA teams, single A teams, high A teams. There's a monstrous number of people that have the potential to have great wealth in this league. And I don't care who it is. It's the same thing in the NFL. It's the same thing in the NFL, that there are billions of dollars and you have these people quibbling over. It's just like, how do you have that strike? What are you really, really getting at when you compare you're playing fucking baseball. You're playing a game, a kid's game. You're playing it.
But it's also 162 games.
I get all that. That's part of the thing. I took my job as a teacher because I knew what it entailed. You play baseball and the grind is 162 games. You play in the NFL, you play for 17 games. That's the goal. You're supposed to play. You earn a contract, they pay you money, you perform, you do what you're supposed to do at the highest level, and that's it. Yeah. And to be paid astronomical sums of money and to want more.
No, that's not what the lockout is about, though.
It's about the luxury tax. It's about profit sharing. It's about freaking minimum salary contracts. It's about a lot of things.
Yeah, but they also want less games because the owners want more postseason games.
I know that because they have to pay bills because they're paying exorbitant salaries. I mean, freaking Mike Trout played half a season last year and he made $500 million. You paid him $500 million because he leveraged you. He put your arm behind your back and said, I'm the best player in Major League Baseball. You have to pay me. Oh, but when I got injured, you don't make any money off of me because I'm not on the field. And that does not compute to me. When you think about, and it's terrible for me to say, but when you look at the average American, to be able to go to their job and quibble over their job that they want even better freaking health care insurance, and if you don't, we're going to go on strike because we have a union and we have lawyers to freaking fight for that. I couldn't imagine telling somebody, well, I need to be paid $150,000 a year. If you want me to teach 200 days, you better pay me $150,000. Do you not know that I work 200 days out of the year? Come on.
I'm performing in front of these
I'm
classes.
trying to perform. I'm trying to educate today's youth and prepare them for life as adults. They're playing baseball and they want, I love baseball. Don't get me wrong. I love baseball. But when they sort all this shit out and the price of going to a game goes up again, I probably won't go to a Major League Baseball game unless it's the perfect situation and I have the money to do it, because the money I spent to take our family to a game in Washington to go watch the Dodgers play the Nats, I could have had 3 seasons of Major League Baseball and watched 12,000 fucking games in HD. 12th, and any game I wanted to watch ever on any day, on any night, I could have watched any major league team for 3 whole years for the price I paid to go to one game.
But
And I
know
could
that-
record any game I wanted.
But I don't know that's a fair comparison because that's the same with almost any professional venue that you go to.
I know that, and I've always been. I've never liked the whole idea of striking for more, especially more money, because it translates back to the fan.
Yeah,
It does. It just goes back to your
at the end
fan.
of the day, like the fans are the reason why you have a game. They are. I don't give a shit what.
Right.
Yeah, you worked your ass off, but guess what? This is not your own business. This is the entertainment industry. We put on a show. When you go to a Nats game, everything about the arena, everything that's going on revolves around the fans. It's an entertainment industry. If you don't have any fans, you don't have any fucking baseball.
There's no product.
Yeah, you look at the Orioles, and they're freaking they're horrific. They have their revenue must suck so bad. They must only survive on apparel.
Oh, they here it's in this article. So
because of failing teams.
The Orioles are a prime example of tanking in recent years, benefiting from landing top draft picks and benefiting from the league's revenue sharing. All this while only paying their entire roster $42 million.
Mm-hmm.
So they only pay $42 million combined.
And they share in the profits of everybody else.
Yeah, but owners want that stopped because it's like, you guys are doing this for a reason and we know you are. And I mean, yeah, you see it at their games. There's nobody at their fucking games right now.
You should the game that Clarence and Tom and we all went to that game.
Right. You went to Clarence went like
day.
2 or 3 days in a row.
It was the trade deadline day.
Oh, yeah.
So as we're driving in, it was the Cubs and the Nats. As we're driving in, we're listening to the radio of all the players that we're not going to see that we thought we were going to see.
Oh yeah.
And we get there, we see a minor league game. There's no players left. There was a fire sale. Everybody in Washington was gone. Everybody in Chicago gone.
Wow, that was last year.
Yeah, it was at the end of the year. I remember you guys going because Clarence went like 2 days, 3 days.
Yeah, he went several days in a row.
And then I think he went to the Orioles too. And he's like, I got great seats. And it's like, yeah, because there's nobody there.
Yeah.
There's nobody there. So yeah, I want baseball back, but
yeah,
I'm not calling them greedy.
Still.
I'm not calling them greedy. I'm just saying that there has to be some way to just go, you know what? You want 60. They want 40. Well, you know what?
Split the difference.
Find 50. I don't care. Somebody take 51, somebody take 49 and deal with it. And then just say, hey, let's not freaking quibble over this shit again for another 5 years. Let's just freaking put it to bed. Let's get people in the seats because we saw this. It took the freaking the summer of love, the Bash Brothers, or not the Bash Brothers, but the home run derby to put the life back into baseball, to put asses back in the seats between Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire and their home run extravaganza throughout the spring and summer that year. That brought baseball back. Is that what has to happen again? Is because don't you think that this turns people off to baseball?
Yeah, 100%. Because once again, you're fucking over the fans and nobody else.
That's always been my concern, is that the fan always bears the brunt, because every year you go to a baseball or any professional sport, the prices of things never go down, and you can't argue inflation. You can't. If I want to go to an NFL game, I went down. Your mother and I went all the way down to Tampa, and I watched Tom Brady play, and they played the Bears, and they destroyed the Bears, and I was sad.
But we're not talking about that.
But we're not talking about that. But I was downstairs. I went down. They have this lower shopping area in the club area, and you go downstairs, and they have this big place with all their jerseys, and the price of those jerseys was freaking astronomical.
$250 plus.
They were easy, and she's like, "Are you going to get one?" I was like, "No, I'm not fucking getting one.
I'll write up a check."
No, not to mention they don't have 3X because they're all fucking greyhounds down there, and they fit mediums and larges. You know what? We went down there, and I looked everywhere. There was not a single, not one Rob Gronkowski jersey. And I asked the guy down there. He goes, "As soon as they come in, they're sold."
Wow.
That should tell you to order more.
Right. That should say, hey, you bought 22 this time. How about you get 52 the next time and bump them up an extra $5 because you had to order more, and people still buy them. But and you go and buy a beer and you say, we I got a beer and my wife got a mixed drink, a rum drink and stuff like that.
$40.
Yeah, it was $32. And I was like, oh my God, for 2 drinks, it was $32.
The only thing
I mean, I spent the money. I was there. I paid for a plane. I didn't pay for my hotel.
The only thing that I don't side with I side with the players on is that I don't like Rob Manfred. I haven't liked him since the whole Astros incident about him saying it's just a piece of metal. I'm like, fuck you, dude.
Right.
I mean, it's like, no,
that those guys got
pricks.
away with cheating, and yet the management structure was punished to the nth degree.
Yeah.
But the players who actually engaged in the cheating, nothing happened to them.
Well, no,
Nothing.
they just didn't take away the trophy. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. The Dodgers won the next year anyway. So.
And the Braves got some revenge this year.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and you know what? And I was a huge. You know what? I am a huge Freddie Freeman fan. So when the Braves won, I said, "Man, I hope they win the World Series. I hope they
it's
can."
Just like I'm a Pens
I just
fan
really
and, like,
wanted it. And then they play the Stros, and I was like, "Yes, it couldn't have been better.
Right.
It was the perfect world."
I'm a Pens fan, and like everyone's like, "Well, that means you hate the Caps," and I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, we beat them 2 years in a row in the playoffs, but that third year when the Caps won the Stanley Cup, guess who they beat finally?
Right.
Beat the Pens."
Right.
And I'm like, I want you guys to win because you finally did something,
Right.
You finally.
It's good for the
conquered
game.
everything.
It's good for the
Yeah.
game. And
Ovi got the monkey off his back.
Yeah, exactly.
you coached, and CJ's been around sports since he was a little kid, and he's been around sports. I mean, you've not coached, but you've been around the sports a lot of different.
Fucking working.
Yeah, he still works in the industry and stuff like that. And parity is good when different teams win. That's not a bad thing. It's really not.
Damn,
a
you
bad
got
thing.
one, baby. Fuck you, NDSU. They got the one. They got the one.
They got the
not
one
the
they
other
needed.
3 times that we played you, but we got the one, including the one that I was.
There will be
part
no
of.
more as they go to the Sun Belt.
Yeah, the homecoming game this year is against Marshall, so
Oof.
I'm definitely going to that one.
That might be a good game.
Yeah.
Well, JMU's no joke. I mean, them stepping up to D1 is not.
They were D1.
That's-
They go to FBS.
You know,
Remember, there's a stupid ass structure for football.
I get
but
it.
every other sport is normal, but when it's
I get it.
football,
That's till the
I get
NCAA falls.
Right. It's just like varsity and
Right.
JV.
did you just give your girlfriend gas money? I'm suing you now with the NCAA.
I just got my check for my name and likeness.
No, I'm saying like I think it was like a guy who like gave his girlfriend some money, and then the NCAA was like, "Where'd you get that money from? Huh? How'd you get that money?" And then they were like, "Yeah, you're in trouble now, buddy.
I cashed my check from Subway.
What?
What do you want from me?
You have a job?" I don't think so.
Right.
But baseball, sure, I'm not the biggest fan, but the atmosphere at the stadiums with the
There's
fans,
nothing like a live
they're-
baseball
they're
game,
just-
especially a Dodgers
it's
game.
what makes sports special, and
Yeah.
what you are doing here is just hurting the fans
Yeah.
of the teams. You
Yeah.
just are,
And I think
you're not
when you look at
thinking
the vast
about them.
majority of players, they want to play.
and
They
not
want to
even
play.
just
They don't want to be
them.
involved in that.
Not even just them. The workers, the
Right.
thousands of workers.
You're
who
right,
work
100%.
These games
From
year
everybody
round.
that works, stands in a parking lot to get
Yeah,
whatever,
they make-
$10 an hour, from to
They need a
guys that
job
are
7
going,
months
hey,
out of the
from freaking Fancy Clancy, serving beers at Camden, to
Yeah.
every ticket taker,
7
every
months out of
vendor.
the year, they're working, that many
Right.
ungodly amount of hours, 82 games a year. They
Yeah.
just are.
It's what you have. So I
And they're not thinking about those people. They
Yeah.
just fucking aren't.
right.
They
Yeah.
don't care about them.
Right. It is, like I said, it's millionaires arguing with billionaires, and
Billionaires will win.
and the rest of the world just sits there and goes, I got to pay $5 a gallon for gas.
You want to get the beers?
Sure,
though,
I'll
of this
get
one. So have you ever been to Box Office Cliff Brewery?
No, I haven't been there.
Okay, so what we're going to taste here is 2 beers from there. It's in Strasbourg. It's in an old firehouse.
Down on Main Street, like
Yeah.
across from the theater.
Yeah. It's literally renovated this old brewery, and it's fantastic. Like they have really good food there, and then they also do a gambling night every once in a while. So yeah,
I'm in.
I was gonna say try and get
Sold.
yourself out there. It's a perfect place. And it's in a small town like Strasburg. It just is. It's great atmosphere. So because I know they closed down Backyard Brewery, right, Dad?
Back room
Back room, yeah.
in Middletown.
Yeah, right up the road. Yeah, they.
No, it's not closed. I think it's back open again. I think
they shut down. They moved. They built a new
the
building.
owner passed away.
Yeah.
And then I think they started back up with a new brewer and stuff like that.
Oh.
I think it's just under different management is all.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that they fully shut down.
Okay, but yeah, go ahead, Coach.
All right, so this is also a box office brewery. I love the tagline, "Your ticket to craft beer." This is called the Belgian Wheat, 6.6% alcohol by volume. This was filled in January. I like it. They give it their own little born on date, handwritten when they do the cans for you, and they'll personally. This can was sealed that day, so you can get it that day, which is pretty cool. They do a great job. You can see how the labels are.
They're hand done.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're not exactly, but that's not the thing. 117 East King Street in Strasburg, Virginia, which is just down the road from us. Let's take a taste of this. So, Cliff, you remember our discussion about how we taste our beers, and it's about how does it start?
You don't have to pour it for me.
No, I wasn't gonna. Oh, that's it.
What are you doing?
I jumped like a little girl, like I was afraid.
I was gonna say, what do you? Did it make
So we
a
look at
loud noise?
we look at about four things. Obviously, we're going to talk about what it is. Does it have a smell? What does it look like? This is slightly hazy. It's not exactly a clear beer, but it has a great amber color to it. Has a great smell. This is a Belgian wheat. Has a very wonderful smell to it.
It's very light.
And then we talk about how does it taste on your first impression and how does it finish, because finishing is the second or the third part. Is that everything comes with taste? No, you're not.
No, that's really good.
It was a good shiver.
Fruity. Huh?
It's a good shiver.
Wow, crisp, very light.
It's got good flavor though.
You know what? There's a citrus taste to that,
That's what I'm saying. Is like,
but that would be punched up just ever so slightly if you had a slice of orange in there. That would punch that up. You know what I mean?
Fruit my beer.
No, you know what I mean, like a blue moon with that
Don't
citrus,
fruit.
that citrus flavoring,
That's
or
that,
like
that,
when you
that good wheat, that balance of the citrus,
Right.
the acid that's there. But
right.
You give me these in a cooler and put me on a golf course, and I'm happy.
Okay, so that's our final one.
And
You know
and I'm
that's
dead on the floor after
Okay,
7.
so- because that's the biggest thing when we taste our beers is that if we were at a party and this was in a cooler, are you going to go back for more? Are you going to go back for more?
He's pondering.
If
He lines up the shot.
Noonan, I think I would probably have a second one of this.
No. Yeah.
I would have a second one.
Definitely for me.
All right. So we've tasted beers here that we've enjoyed so much that we said we wouldn't go back just for another one. We'd keep going till they ran out.
Nah, not for me.
I don't know
no.
that that's me. No.
Not for this one.
No.
I would give
But
like
do you
3, but nah, not no more.
Out of 4 stars, you're giving it 3.
No, like I'm saying, I would give it like
2
I
or
would
3
get
beers.
2 or 3
2
beers.
or 3 beers. So this isn't
So
one of those.
it's like
beers.
a middle road
Right.
beer.
This isn't one of those things where you're
Yeah.
going to smash. Like the other night we
I
had
won't be
one of
blacked
my
out.
favorites we've tasted on the show last year was 2 Silos Cream Ale, and we had that the other night when we went over here to the
3
the
or
local.
4.
Yeah, I did. I have 4. I think I had 4. I think I did.
I don't
and I
remember.
paid for the no, because she brought it, and I couldn't remember if I handed her the can back because Clarence had taken and handed them back to the waitress, and I couldn't remember, and she couldn't remember, and that's kind of bad when you can't
But
remember.
they can it themselves. Like, so it's like I said, go check it out. It's a great place. It's huge.
That's not a bad beer.
No, it's
That's
not a
not
bad
bad.
beer at all. I give it a 3 out of 5. I would give it like a 3 out of 5.
It's in the, I mean, but it's in that shock top Belgian wheat, like
Right.
it is what it is.
That's what I'm saying. It
As
could
advertised.
if you had a little splash of orange to put in there. It's like a Modelo Especial. You can't drink that beer without a lime, without a lime slice. It just punches it to the next level.
The Blue Moon, same.
Yeah, and that might be one of those things where if you had a summer party and you were serving these beers, that you had a nice collection of orange
wedges
slices, just sitting out there, a little splash, a little drop. All right, so this one is Roy Pitts, and Roy Pitts is a brewery in Pennsylvania, in the town where CJ was born, a little town called Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. And this is a German style golden lager. It's called Best Blonde. And I'll tell you what, they have a nice selection of beers there. They have a unique brewery, tap house, restaurant where they have a separate bar, and you can get other drinks there. Like they have a martini menu and things like that. It's a very unique thing, and you can go to other portions of the compound, so to speak, and you can get they make freaking like fire grilled pizzas and stuff like that. And then they have a whole tasting room, which is like right next to where the beer is brewed, and you can sample all of them. You can get flights and stuff like that. And that's what I did. I took a flight of 4, and then when we were leaving, I grabbed a few of these. But their tagline is passionately brewed and canned in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. So this is called Roy Pitts Brewing. This is called Best Blonde, and it is a German style of lager, 4.5%, which is nothing more than a Bud Light or a Miller Lite. And
with flavor.
Yeah. And now, see, this one has definitely a much clearer look to it than the Belgian wheat. Very clear, very strong amber. Nothing. Typical beer smell. It's a good looking beer, great head on it.
I have to go check this place out. I spent some time in that Fridays up there when I was managing TGI Fridays, bouncing around. So I have to go.
Another very light German style beer. And German beers to me are not really, really good ones, are not this light.
No, you think of like a Kolsch,
right? And Kolsch is what they made a Kolsch down at the Backroom Brewery down here in Middletown. Their Kiss Me Kolsch, dude, I'd drink those until I was face down in the grass out there because they were so good, ice cold. But this is not bad.
I'd be out there laying in the sunflower,
so,
whatever I was,
with the other spices,
catching allergies. I don't give a shit.
Picking my own hops off and eating them.
That's still not bad. It finishes pretty good. This is another beer where you think maybe if I just had a little splash of something acidic in there, that would pump it up a little bit. Another orange slice, maybe a lime slice for this one, because this has a little Modelo taste to it.
I would probably have a second one of these, but this is another one that I would not.
I give it like a 3 again.
Yeah,
I would go back for 2 or 3, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing splashy about it. It's not a bad beer.
I don't know, just in comparison to like the stout or the porter that I taste from Port City, like I just cannot.
Yeah, Port City. Well, it's unfair to use Port City as an example because of the craftsmanship that they have.
It's not unfair. If I expect these beers to be up on a higher level,
yeah,
that's where I want it to be. Now, sure, it's a different style, but still, yeah.
And we've talked about it, and Cliff knows. I'm a big Escutcheon Brewing guy. I love their stuff that they make here in Winchester area. They make great beers. In fact, I should probably go down there. I've drank enough Fancy Clancy for anybody. I was a big John Riggins, Fourth and One.
Whenever they were available, that
was
a
Riggins
top
Fourth
beer
and
that
One.
we had.
Yeah, that was one of our
top beer.
And that was one of our first beers we ever drank on the show. Was a John Riggins.
Yeah,
made by Escutcheon Brewing, and
and then it went out of stock.
Yeah, it went out of contract, and then they developed a new contract with Fancy Clancy, which is a very similar beer, maybe a little more full body than the Riggins
it doesn't
beer.
have a fucking legend on it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah, John.
I was trying to think of the word.
I'm sorry, but on Fourth and One, you are giving it to freaking the Diesel. You're giving it to
on
him.
Fourth and One. You're throwing it at the 1 yard line.
No,
you're throwing it at the 1
Getting
yard
intercepted
line.
by Malcolm Butler.
No, that would never happen with the Washington Redskins. The Redskins with John Riggins.
You would have never thought with Marshawn Lynch that would have happened either. 3 straight plays.
Yeah, he took
and then
it
on the fourth one, you're like,
Yeah.
Now let's throw
it.
it. Let's give Brady number 5.
No, that
Okay.
was number 4, but yeah.
Oh, was it 4?
Yeah. Because he won 3, and that took him 10 years to get to that one to win.
Right.
Yeah. So that was number 4.
And then 4, and then,
And then
5 was
Atlanta.
the Atlanta.
6 was the Rams.
and
7 was Tampa.
Yeah. Anybody ever going to get to 7? Anytime soon.
No, Big Ben got to 2, and then now he's gone.
Aaron Rodgers only has 1, and he got that early in his career.
Another thing that, like, it just, he's
Nobody
I think he
else,
has
right?
11.
Nobody else.
Yeah.
You think about the new guy or the guy that just won in Matt Stafford.
Mahomes. You could
Mahomes
see.
could.
Did you see Mahomes?
Yeah, but
Hopefully Allen
if he
does
stays
it
healthy.
At some point.
Yeah, but at some point they're going to run into contractual issues. I think with that squad.
Next year they will. Next year they definitely
I think they
will.
are.
Oh yeah, with Kelsey, Tyreek Hill, like that whole.
Well, they already
crew.
paid Kelsey. They already paid Kelsey and Mahomes.
But how much
But
more is there
Hill-
to go around?
Yeah, how much more is there?
Right, when you
and they
hit-
also they gave Joe Tooney, their offensive guard, a massive contract as well. And their defense
And he's a former
also,
Patriot,
like,
right? Tooney came from the Patriots.
Their
so.
defense has Tyrann Mathieu. They have players on that, Christian Jones. Like, they have some top tier players on that defense that like need money.
Yeah,
They
they're
do.
going to end up. So I'm
deserving,
very
so.
curious, and I always wondered if a guy like Mahomes would win it early and what would happen to get him back. Now, they were really close this year, but for some reason,
Russell Wilson.
Another one. Yeah. He got his one and should have had 2.
Where's he been?
But since that point, what have you done for me lately? Yeah, I just don't see. I don't know if anybody right now in this generation of players has got 7 in their future.
No.
Because you got to play 20
Well,
years. It took him 20
Well,
years
you
to
also
do.
have to have the
22, 23 years.
mindset. You have to have the mindset of Brady. Look, this is not your team. This is our fucking team.
Yeah.
What you have to do is make sure.
I was going to
everyone's
say
on the
Russell
same
Wilson
page.
didn't pull that book and say I can live on Sierra's money. Let's get some more
Yeah.
rings. Because
Yeah, exactly.
Brady lived on Giselle's money.
I mean,
Ugg
he could
money
live on
and-
his money.
Well,
but yeah.
money.
Yeah. I'm like but that's where he was like, I know what sacrifice I'm making with my paycheck.
Ben did that as well.
I
Like
think,
Ben,
Ben did.
Ben
do that.
got
He
a big
Pay
restructured.
off as well.
yeah.
He
and
restructured to get what he
the only
needed.
year that I think that was just a heartbreaker was 2017
Le'Veon Bell.
when we lost to Jacksonville. Like, I think that was the biggest heartbreaker where you're like, we had a special team and we just fucked it right there.
Right.
with
Yeah. Hey,
Jacksonville.
the best team that never was is very, very difficult to beat. In high school, I've been on 2 of. I've coached with 2 of those teams that were state champion caliber teams. Should have won state championships and didn't win. And it came down to personalities.
I know 2010 was one. probably.
Absolutely, 100%.
And then
We were
what
the
was
best
it?
team in the state.
And then-
Period.
And then what was
And couldn't prove it.
What was the other one then?
The 2018 team, 2018 at Sharando.
Oh, that lost to Woodgrove.
Right, because we lost our quarterback, we lost our running back
Okay,
was
yeah.
suspended, our cornerback
Yeah.
was suspended.
2010,
there was a lot of good stuff there.
2010. I'm like, you ran into Jonathan Allen, and it seemed like just,
Yeah, but that's because they bumped us down.
oh really?
They bumped us down to play in Division 5.
Division
But
5,
if we
yeah.
play in Division 6, we win going away. Period.
Because you went undefeated. You went undefeated, and
Yeah.
then it was like,
Mhm.
fuck.
Yeah, we were 13-1.
Yeah,
Just rolling through people.
and then 2018.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if we play
Woodgrove
at
game
the
was
highest
just
level
terrible.
at Division 6,
if anyone
the
from
that year we got beat by Stonebridge 21-0. They shut out a team that scored 500 and some odd points during the regular season. And we played Battlefield during the regular season. Battlefield ended up winning the state championship that year.
Division
Going
6,
away, they beat a team out of the Richmond area. Off the top of my head, I can't remember, but they beat them going. I watched the game and I was just sitting there going, I can't believe this shit's
Should
happening.
be me.
And when we played against them in the regular season, dominated freaking
Yeah.
Battlefield.
I remember that
Complete-
now that you
complete
guys did play
domination.
Division 5 that year. That's
Yeah,
fucking-
we beat them in the regular season 28-14, and it wasn't even they scored on our backups in the fourth quarter.
Play to the level of your competition.
Yeah, and then we go against Stonebridge, who played us magnificently, and we suffered 2 terrible injuries, and it took the steam out of us. And then we had some bitching and some complaining, some moaning and groaning, and personalities took it over and just zapped
That was
the
the year
team's
that
energy.
you had Neek. That
Yeah,
was the year that you
Dominique.
had Dominique. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we were the best team that never was. Yeah, some good players. Lucky Whitehead played on that team. Yeah, we had three
Timothy Keith as well.
We had 3 Division I players on that team. 4 Division I players.
Yeah. I remember your
Marcus
center,
Matthew went to Miami of Ohio. Timmy Keith went to
Central Michigan.
Central Michigan.
No, Western Michigan.
Western
It was
Michigan.
Western. Yeah.
Dominique Terrell went to UVA.
And Lucky went to FAU.
No, he went to Dean Junior College. It was
He
Dominique.
played at FAU. I know he at one, or was he? I thought.
And now he went to Dean Junior College for 2 years, and then he transferred and got a full scholarship at Florida Atlantic. Yeah.
I remember your center one game was like, you said your center had an elbow injury and he wore a fucking leg guard. I think his name was Zach, and like he wore a fucking leg guard. He's like, I'm not sitting out. I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Kyle Bruns was our center at the time, and he had broken his arm the year
Oh,
before.
Kyle.
Broke both arms. Broke both.
The tib fib.
Ulnar and radius.
Oh,
both
ulnar
arms.
radius.
His fucking arm flopped down like it was hanging down here the year before surgery, and he was all braced up. He was bad.
Wore
Now
leg- he wore
that
a
kid was
leg
like
guard.
freaking. He was like genius though. I mean, he was like fucking brilliant. He's like he works for like Verizon's network consultants in Massachusetts or some shit.
He
like
wore a
that.
leg guard though. He didn't just
I got
wear
his
like
picture
any
up there
old arm.
somewhere. I got his picture up there somewhere. There, he's 55 right there. In the one picture on the left, there's 10. And that's the region. That's the regional championship there. Kyle Bruns, what a badass he was.
Yeah, I remember him.
I love that kid. Hard as nails, smart as shit.
But yeah, okay. Cliff, thank you for joining us once again, man.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah,
Thanks for
That
having
was
me.
good.
always have a good
It was-
time on this show.
Look at
It's
that.
a little bit over an hour, so yeah.
Just a tick over now.
Yeah,
It's
so-
good.
But thank you for coming on. Hey, you're welcome back anytime. Trust me, because hey, they have an empty house now.
Yeah.
'Cause Patrick
We're
moved
empty
out,
nesters.
So, and I've moved out 7 months ago. But anyway, thanks for joining us once again. We hope you guys have a good weekend. Until next time, peace
Hey,
out.
see ya.
Love you guys.